Hi guys, welcome to my DIY videos. Today I'll be showing you how to make a mini dress form, and the inspiration of making this dress form comes from recycling all my fabric remains, fabric trashes. Instead of trashing it, I can still recycle it. It can still be useful to do some other things like my ironing balls and also my mannequin. So here I'll be using what I'll put inside after sewing this pattern together is my fabric trashes and pieces of fabric and also foam that I use in making hip pads. These are the measurements you need to use for drafting this type of mannequin. This is a very small mannequin. It's just like a miniature mannequin that you can use in showcasing all your fabric designs and styles, and it can also be used as a baby mannequin. So here we have shoulder 10 inches, bust 22/5.5. I won't be able to list everything. It's here on the screen. You can just pause and study the measurement. So here there will be a style line. There will be a dart towards the dart will go towards the shoulder, and I'll be showing you how we are going to do that in this video. So here are the measurements. I have the bust 5.5, the under bust is 7.5, while the half length is 8.5 when you place your tape measure on the shoulder. So after getting the vertical measurement, I'm going to input all the vertical measurements: bust, under bust, waist and hip as written in the video. So just go and study the measurement and you will see that what I wrote there is what I input here, and the dress length is 18 inches. So the shoulder is 10 divided by 2 will give me 5. So that's how I got this. So I have drafted this. This is what I'm going to modify to do my princess dart bust here. So here we have the bust line. I input and bust on the bust line, the nipple to nipple measurement I use here is 1 3/4, 1/3/4 inches. That's what I used. I just subtracted like a quarter from 2 inches. That's what I use for my nipple to nipple measurement. After that, I draw the straight line, and on the waistline I input a waist measurement of 1/8 on both sides. 1/8 on both sides together will give me 1/4. So that's my dart intake. So the dart intake. So after the dart has been input, next thing to go towards the breast point. So these are the measurements that I considered. Is what I put on the screen that I also wrote in the book. So here I will input all my circumference measurement after I have input my dart. So wherever I take a dart, I must replace the dart intake just the way you draft your basic bodies. I believe this tutorial is for somebody that has the knowledge of pattern drafting before, not a beginner. So this tutorial, if you are not a beginner, you will understand what I'm trying to say. This is just a way of drafting your basic bodies block. So after I have done that, on the hip measurement, I also input the circumference measurement here on the hip measurement. Since there is no dart intake on the hip line, I won't input any dart intake allowance. So after that, I have not input any sewing allowance here. It's just the measurement. So I have input the circumference measurement, and the neckline is just 2 by 2. The width is 2 inches by 2 inches. 2 inches by 2 inches. This is the front pattern. So I'm going to use the front pattern to draft the back pattern. So I have my front, so I'll be using my tracing wheel to trace it out on the back pattern so that I will not waste my time drafting the back all over again. So I'm going to trace out all my lines like so. After tracing it out, it's only the neckline that I'm not going to trace out, because the neck at the back will not be as deep as that of the front. The neck at the back will be as deep as 1/2 inch and the same width, 2 inches width. So after I have done that, I have traced it out. This is what I have on my back. I have put the front on one side. So I will input the dart intake also on the waistline, 1/8 here and 1/8 here. It's making 1/4 altogether. Then I'm going to connect my dart to the below the upper chest, not like that of the front that is below the bust line. So After I have done that, I'm going to just connect all my dart intake like so. So I'll be showing you how to draft in a short while, how to draft my back pattern here. So, and after I have connected this all the dart intake, the next thing to do is to input the dart intake, whatever I have. I'm going to input it while I'm inputting the circumference measurement divided by 4. So whatever I have on the circumference, I'll place it here. The circumference measurement divided by 4 is what I'm putting here. And after putting it, I will measure the dart intake. Dart intake of 1/4 of an inch will be replaced here. So after I place the 1/4 of an inch dart intake, I'll connect it with my ruler. Then connect to the bust line also. The bust line also, I input the circumference measurement of the bust divided by 4. That's what I input there. Then on the hip line, the hip measurement that I have divided by 4 is what I also input there. Since there is no dart intake on the bust line, there is no need to replace any dart allowance. So I'll just connect to the hip line like so. Then I'm done drafting the back. So after I have connected to the hip line, I'll be careful the way I place my French cuff, just to connect to the hemline like so, like you are making a dress. So you can use this idea to draft a dress pattern also. Then after I have connected to the hemline of the dress where it will stop, I'll come to the back, to the neckline here. Neck depth is 1/2 of an inch. Then I'll connect. So 1/2 of an inch connected to the neck width of 2 inches that I input the other time. So here I'll reduce bulginess at the back, center back, by 1/4 of an inch. I'll just come in by 1/4 of an inch. Then I'll connect it to the hip line and also to the upper chest, just the way we draft our basic bodice pattern. So if it's a dress block you want to draft, this is the same method you will use to draft a fitted dress block. So I'll connect it to the upper chest like so. And after I've connected it, I'm looking for the best ruler to do that, and I'll use my straight ruler to do that and blend up where necessary. So after I'll blend this so that there won't be a sharp edge. So after I've done that, I'm almost done with the back, and this is the front. And create like a pant pattern of it. So below the hip, I'll input 1 inch, and also below that's my crotch. So below the crotch, I'll also input 1 inch to represent my lap. So I will just, so that this pattern can serve 2 purposes. I can use it as a dress and also like a place suit. So just like you are creating a jumpsuit pattern. So the crotch cuff will be created here, just 1/2 of an inch. Then I'm going to curve it up. That's my crotch cuff. Then I'll connect to this, the inseam that has been connected to the hemline of the dress. So after I have done that, you can use this type of dress form to display your pant pattern or to display a dress. So this, I'm going to add sewing allowance here to connect it. By the time I want to gum it, so that the allowance to gum it will be there, I'll gum it to the pattern. So you can as well draft it together if you want to, but so that I'll be able to use this pattern for 2 purposes, that's why I did this. So this will be connected to the front, and this, the crotch for the back is different from that of the front. So I'll come down by just 1/4 of an inch here to create the extension of the crotch curve of that of the back pattern. So the extension here will just be 1 inch extension. Then I will just connect it up to the extension of that of the front and crotch. So I'm trying to create my back crotch here using the front crotch extension. So after I have done that, I'll just connect it up like so using my pencil, and I can use my marker to trace it out henceforth. So after I have done the connection, I will now use my marker to trace everything out. So I'll connect to the hemline of the dress like so. So that line is just for my inseam. So I will just connect like so. I prefer to use my free hand, it's a lot more easier. And this is for the back crotch, and this is ready. I will just connect it like so. Since sewing allowance has been added to the front, then I will cut it out. So I can go ahead and just gum this to the back pattern. Don't forget, so the back pattern, we have the extended crotch. So I'll just put gum like so and connect like this, and did the same thing for the front pattern. So if I don't want a pant dress form or a jumpsuit dress form, I can still convert it to a dress, normal, a dress form, not a play suit form. So after I have, this is for the front, I'll connect the front also, so that if I want to display a trouser on this, or a jumpsuit or a play suit, anything that has two legs, I'll be able to do that to display. I'll be able to display that on this type of mannequin. So this is just a small form mannequin. I told you it's a mini mannequin. It's not it's because of the camera that it's making it look as if it's big, but it's a small mannequin. The whole length of this is 18 inches, even including the pant extension. So after I have done that, I can go ahead, since this is the front, so the connection of the dart intake, I'm going to come down by half of an inch here on the shoulder, then connect it to the bust. So I'll be connecting it to the bust line like so. So after I have connected it to the bust line, I'll just trace it out, blend it up, and make sure there is no sharp edge. And from there, I'll still come down by 3/4 of an inch. I'll still come down by 3/4 of an inch, and that's the dart I'm trying to manipulate here. So to create my bust here. So after I have done that, I'll connect it to that, and I have this is armhole princess style line. So on the under bust, there will be a dart intake on the under bust also, in order to be able to form the bustier very well. I can add sewing allowance here. The dart intake that is on the armhole is replaced here. I will replace like 3/4 of an inch here also. Then here there will be a replacement of dart intake also. Half of an inch will be placed here. And after I have replaced those dart intake, in order to avoid shortage by the time I'm fixing the panels, the side panels and the center front panels. So this idea can be used for a dress, an actual dress. You can use it for a dress also. So, and you can also use it for a play suit also. You can use it to create a pattern for jumpsuit also. So I'm taking a dart of half of an inch here, dart intake under the bust. Half of an inch will be taken here and connected to the bust line in order to create my bustier. So after I have done that, I'll connect to the measurement that is here also. I will extend it out before I do my connection. And also here, the armhole will be increased. The armhole will be increased because of those dart intake. Then I'll connect a new armhole here for the side pattern. So after I have done that, the next thing to do is to come to the under bust. I have created a dart under the bust, below the bust I mean. So I will come to the under bust and create a dart. So I will input dart intake of 1/4 of an inch under the bust, and this will be added to the former dart intake that was there already. So here the dart intake will be connected to the bust line. So I think this is half of an inch, not 1/4 of an inch. So half of an inch is added. So I will replace the half of an inch here. The half of an inch that I took in, I will replace it at the side seam. Also half of an inch here, I'm going to replace it here also. You can see all the dart intake. As I'm removing it, I'm replacing it to the side seam. So I'm trying to transfer it from the under the bust to the side seam. So I'll connect the new line like so, and this is my new line here, the under bust line and the waistline. I'm going to trace that out also clearly. So I'll connect it to the hip line. So from the hip line, I'll just connect it like so, and use my my French curve to do the justice to this part. So I'll connect to the hip line also like so. So this is my bustier has been created, and this is like armhole that bustier, like a princess style line bustier. So after I've done that, the next thing to do is to go ahead and shade all my dart intake. I've shaded my dart intake, and I know what and what side I'm going to remove. So this is that on the bust line. I'm going to close this part up. That's why I'm creating this type of shape at this place. But by the time I close it up, I will need some allowance at that point. So that's why I'm doing that. So I'll go ahead and cut out, considering my bust line. By the time I get to that place, I will leave some space to be able to do the dart manipulation I'm going to do in that area. So after I've done that, I'll come to this part and cut it out. So remove all the dart intake. So I'll remove the dart intake like so, cut it out. So I have my center front ready, and here I'll be closing up the dart at this point. I'll be closing up the dart at. So after closing up the dart, I'll just close it up carefully. After closing up the dart, this is what I have. I can take my gum to be able to do that neatly, and since I have increased some allowances on the armhole, it will fit in for that. There won't be a surplus at this point. This will be fitted by the time I do it finish. So I'm going to close up the dart here. So after closing it up, I can trim up the excesses. So I'll trim off the excesses like so, and having done that, I'm done. So any other trimming that I need to do, I can go and do that one off the camera. And I'll go ahead now. My pattern is ready. This is my front pattern. I'll go ahead and place my fabric. Any fabric, you can use any fabric. Just make sure the fabric has strength. So I'll go and place it on my fabric and use it to cut it out. So I'm removing the bulginess at the center back here. So I have my pattern ready. So you can use, I told you can use this pattern for, you can use this, the idea of the drafting this pattern for your client or for yourself. So here, this is the neckline. I have joined it together. So I'll show you how to do the joining in the next video. So this is the collar. I measure the neckline to be able to know the collar. The neck circumference is 10. So I'll just bring it out on mark it out here. I've measured 5 because my paper is on fold, and here I took 3/4 of an inch up. Then here, this is 5 already, and dividing by 2, I have 2.5. I just mark the half of that 5, then connected like this, raise up my collar this way, and input my collar width. The collar width is 3 inches plus all the sewing allowance and the gumming allowance I'm going to use. So I'll just trace it out like so. My collar is ready. So I needed to sew the fabric I'm using finish before I'll be able to cut my collar, because I want it to be exact neck circumference. So I'll be cutting it out like so. So after I've cut it out, this is what I have for my collar. I can use this to cut out the fabric. So if there's no need to add allowance to this one, but for my pattern, for my front and back pattern, I'm going to add sewing allowance of half of an inch all round, and that is what you see here, sewing allowance of half of an inch all round. So watch out for the part 2 of this tutorial, where I will be packing all the trashes inside this mannequin. See you in the next tutorial.